Welcome to Bet On. I'm Kelly Stewart, your host this evening, and we're going to break down this week's NFL card. Gianni, the Greek gambler, Karalis, and Marco D'Angelo. If you guys aren't giving them a follow on Twitter yet, I'm Kelly in Vegas, Marco in Vegas, and at Greek_gambler. Make sure you guys hit that follow button so you don't miss out on anything awesome, mainly just me calling people bro on Twitter. Let's get this week's show started. Primetime games, Sunday and Monday night. We've been doing well with these. I know I kind of bagged on us a little bit in the college segment, but we have been doing really well on these primetime games. Sunday night, Green Bay at Kansas City. Green Bay -4.5, total 47. I'm sure in the next segment we're going to talk about this line move. But Marco, your thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs? It's down to 4 in some spots, it's looking like right now, and wouldn't surprise me if I end up on the Chiefs on Sunday night.
Yeah, Kelly, a couple things to go with this game. First of all, we all know that Mahomes got hurt last week. He's going to miss a few weeks of action. So we've had an adjustment in the line. The look-ahead line was actually Kansas City -4, and then it went to Green Bay -4.5. So the market, Vegas, is trying to tell us that Mahomes is worth 8.5 points. He is an elite quarterback. There's no question about that. But I don't know that 8.5 is an over-adjustment. And we talk about teams all year. This has probably been the biggest year of injuries to quarterbacks that I can remember that we've had so many.
Bad.
Okay. But if you've looked every week, I talk about the injured player theory. That first game that the backup has come in and started has been like gold. It's been money. It's a Sunday night home game. The fans are going to be in panic mode because of no Mahomes and everything. Kansas City, Andy Reid's going to put a good game plan together. You've got Matt Moore at quarterback. The benefit that Kansas City has is they played on Thursday last week. So they got 3 extra days to come up with their game plan and get him a game plan that's going to suit him. And let's not forget, we're going against a Green Bay defense that is not good. They're ranked 27th, allowing 6.3 yards per play. I think this is a spot that Kansas City can get the job done. I'll go with the injured player theory. I'll take Kansas City plus what I think is an over-adjusted number with it.
I agree with everything you've said. This is my one issue. I have watched Aaron Rodgers year in and year out. If they're up a field goal and the Packers have the ball left, I know they're not going to sit on that lead with a couple minutes left. I am worried about this Kansas City defense. I lean with you. I agree with you on Kansas City, and I probably will get there. But your thoughts on the Kansas City defense?
The Kansas City defense is bad. Now, they looked good last week because they were playing Denver. So, they moved up in the rankings. But prior to last week, their defense was down at the bottom with Green Bay's. In your statement about Aaron Rodgers, that's true. But remember the Detroit Lions game. They sat down at the 3-yard line.
Very, very good point. Burn the clock out, kick the field goal, which still, if they were up a field goal, would still hurt. Yeah. But yes, I agree with what you're saying. VR, your thoughts? I know we've been back and forth. You and I have pissed off Chiefs fans for about the last 2 years.
Yeah. Remember, that's not me, guys.
It's these guys.
I was way off last week on that Thursday night game with Denver, and I can promise you.
And thanks to Johnny Detroit for just blasting the hell out of that. So
everywhere he could. But with that said, I can promise you it's not going to be the last time I lose a bet. I bet every single day, year-round, every sport. So rest assured, there'll be plenty of losers along the way. Like I don't know what the big deal. I never understood why.
Might have been that you were a little bit too adamant.
Well, that's exactly. If I'm not confident, why would I take my money out of my pocket that I worked so hard for and place it, actually lay 11 to win 10, if I'm not that confident? Then you have no business. If my confidence insults you, then you shouldn't be betting. Because if you're going to be betting, you have to be confident. You have to feel like every bet you make, you have an edge, or else don't place it. And that's why I'll continue to stay that way. If I like a side, and you're going to get every chance to bash me when I'm wrong. But fortunately for me, I win more than I lose long term, and I've proven that. So at the end of the day, like, that's what matters to me most. And getting back to this one quickly, I think the value is on Kansas City, and I agree with what Marco said. And stylistically, I think the advantage goes based on the fact, as weak as Kansas City has looked running the football, they're going to have to do that this week. And they're going up against one of the worst rush defenses in all of football.
I will say McCoy has shown moments of greatness this year, and I do think he has.
They're going to have to. And the only rushing offense they've faced this year, Green Bay, was the Oakland Raiders. Prior to that, they faced no one that could run the football. And again, that's not Kansas City's bread and butter, running the football, but Mahomes ain't behind center anymore. So you're going to have to change your approach a little bit.
As a Denver Broncos fan and someone who had a Denver ticket in their pocket, Matt Moore was a very serviceable quarterback. He was able to manage that game. Now, granted, they had a lead before Mahomes went out. But he was able to still make plays.
On the road?
On the road, in a hostile environment, when Denver, by all accounts, should have been able to roar back.
Come back, exactly. They should have had momentum and life.
And they couldn't. They didn't do it. They didn't have anything that you just mentioned, as a matter of fact. I do think Matt Moore will be fine and be able to coast through these next few games without Mahomes.
But the only thing that scares me why I haven't bet Kansas City is what you said. You know Aaron Rodgers, you know Green Bay, you know what they do in prime time, and you're right. No lead is safe. They won't take the knee. He's going to keep trying to score, and that's the fear.
Okay, Monday night, Miami at Pittsburgh. We thought last Monday night was super boring. This is going to be interesting. 14.5. These big favorites on these primetime games are always interesting to me. Total, though, 43. VR, I'll start with you. Can you bet the Dolphins at Pittsburgh? I mean, the Dolphins for 3 quarters hung around with the Bills last week. They got the cover, but I bet against the Bills. You don't bet on the Dolphins. Are you betting against Pittsburgh here?
I haven't bet this game. Again, I haven't backed any opinion so far on the Monday night or the Sunday night with my cash, so take that for what it is. With that said, I can't lay this many points with the Pittsburgh Steelers. As bad as Miami's looked, the bottom line is they've faced a lot of good offenses. In fact, the 5th toughest so far this season. And it's going to get easier for them the rest of the way. I mean, they've played a lot of good offensive teams so far. So you got to give their defense a little bit of a pass. With that said, is that defense good enough to stay within 14 in Pittsburgh? That's a hard ask, man. Again, there's not much. I don't want to take up time. Not much to love about either of these primetime games, but as much as you would think, look at the Pittsburgh side, I can't. I don't know. I'm not in no rush to
Marco's our resident Pittsburgh guy.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me what to do.
It looks like Mason Rudolph's going to be back.
Yes.
Okay. I'm leaning towards the under. Primetime unders have been absolute money for me in certain spots. 43, woo. So we're sitting right there on the edge if I could actually make a play on this one or not.
And when you see my predicted score, you'll say I'm right on the edge. This is the thing. First off, there's a lot of history with Pittsburgh on Monday night primetime games.
Absolutely.
Tomlin has done that. Is one area that Tomlin has excelled. Now, there's also another area that Tomlin has not excelled in. Historically, since he's been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he has a tendency to play to the level of the competition. Here's a stat for you. When he's playing a bad team, and that's a team who's being outscored by 10 points or more, his record as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers is just 5-14 against the spread. So that's the concern I have with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I am going to put a disclaimer on Miami's performance last week. Buffalo came out of their bye week. Buffalo was on a roll. They were playing well. Only one loss on the season. That one loss come to New England. It was a tough game.
They had a chance to win it, yeah.
They had a chance to win. They went into their bye week on, feeling good about themselves. To me, when you go into the bye week, when you're having a good season, it's a momentum stopper rather than a benefit. I like to take teams out of the bye week where they've got problems and things aren't going well because they were focused on trying to fix the team and make them better.
Like the Jets?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
sorry, bad joke.
Yeah, that was a couple
weeks
ago. Yeah. That was man, you got spikes on too
No,
today?
I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
It's casual Wednesday.
Okay. Well, that one hurt. But the spot here is I can't trust Pittsburgh laying this number. And let's not forget, one of the jolts to the offense last week for Miami is they took Rosen out and brought Fitzpatrick back. That's a sign that Miami's not trying to build for the future, or they already decided Rosen's not part of that future, and now they went back to the best option, which is Fitzpatrick. He can move the football enough. I think Miami is going to cover this game. I think Pittsburgh wins, but I don't think they cover the 14. My projected score is Pittsburgh 24-20, which puts us right at that number.
Yeah,
I'm going to wait and see what this total
Hopefully
does.
there's a World Series game on.
You know, because I think that this might have this is the least likely game to go over, and I just have that gut feeling that this is going to be that one primetime game that does go over. I want to see the public actually betting the under for a change, and that I might.
Well, yeah, if Thursday night and Sunday night both hit unders, they're going to finally catch up to the unders.
Yeah.
Or just
Sunday night, one of the groups bet under 48.5.
Yeah, I like
Green
it.
Bay, Kansas City.
I like it.
I might get involved in a total come Monday, but right
Okay.
now Miami is my side.
Okay, great stuff. We're going to step out for a quick break. When we return, we're digging in those numbers. We're going to look at which of those NFL games have moved the most and why. That's up next on Bet On It.
The NBA is here, and we have a tip-off special this week at sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com. Get the entire NBA season through the NBA Finals from your favorite Sports Memo or WagerTalk handicapper for just $5.99. This gets every play, including 5% plays through the Finals in June. This is a $300 savings and brings your final cost to less than $2.50 a day. Hurry! This is a limited-time offer available at both sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com. Get $25 in WagerBucks added to your account after your first purchase at wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com. This is just our way of saying thank you for joining the WagerTalk and Sports Memo family.
All right, it is time to take a deep dive into some of these lines that have moved. The Westgate here in Las Vegas always puts the NFL lines out about a week and a half before. We call them the look-ahead lines here in Vegas. That means you can bet next week's games before this week's games are even played. Once this week's games are played, those lines are going to change. But the question is, are those moves justified, or is this a big overreaction by the public? This is an interesting one. LA Chargers at Chicago. Chicago, 6-point favorite prior to that loss to the Saints. Now 4-point favorite. VR, I'll start with you.
Listen, I mean, Chicago's been a big disappointment. I expected it coming into the season. I bet them season win totals under. I bet the no as far as making the playoffs. I expected a regression from the Chicago Bears, so that was expected. I do think it's.
But you were high on the Chargers to start the season.
I was, and I've had to adjust. The NFL season's so short with 16 games that you can't have an ego. Like, if you make some conclusions before the season starts and 3-4 games in, you see that it's not manifesting on the field the way it was on paper. You got to jump off it and not stop letting the same teams burn you. I've learned that as far as the NFL. So I've given up on thinking the Chargers are going to cash those futures, but I do think there's some value on them this year. On this week, excuse me. Bottom line for the Chicago is they are a different team this year. Last year, they were forcing teams into long third downs. This year, that's not the case. Teams are having a lot of success in early downs. And you know, Warren Sharp talks about that all the time.
Yeah, he does.
And he works with NFL teams, and he says the best, most successful teams are the ones that have success on early downs and are able to get out ahead and score early. I mean, if you got the lead at halftime, you're going to win 75, 80% of your games. So you got to get out and try to score. And I love that. And just Chicago has not been able to do that defensively, which is something they had to depend on. So for me, I do think the adjustments were warranted.
Okay. Marco, Jets at Jacksonville. Open Jacksonville, -4.5, now -6. Obviously, the Jets get the bricks beat off them on Monday night by New England. 1.5-point line move.
Overreaction.
I think so.
Yeah.
You're going against New England, you know, supposedly the best team in the league because they've played the softest schedule, but that's another story. This is a spot where the public, they just remember what they saw. And the last thing they saw was Monday night, everybody watches that game. And the Jets look pathetic. And not only, as you said, 6 turnovers for the Jets, but Jacksonville, they won by 10. They beat a winless team by 10, and they were +4 in the turnover margin.
Yeah.
+4 in the turnover margin, and you only won by 10. Okay, now you want to lay 6 points with them? No, I'm not doing it.
I agree.
Jets.
Yep, Jets are pass. VR, Cincinnati versus the LA Rams. These guys are playing in London. We're talking double digits in London. So opened Rams -9.5, now 13.
No, way too high. It really is.
I wanted to back the Bengals last week. I am so glad I didn't. They looked good for basically 2.5 quarters. Started at the middle of the third quarter, the wheels fell off because that's what the Bengals do.
That's what happens to an 0-7 team. That's why they're 0-7. And maybe the play may be to look at them in the first half. The problem with Cincinnati is simple. You can't not run the football, even in today's pass-happy NFL. You got to try to run, and you have to have some success, or you're going to have no passing game unless you're Kansas City, the best regular season team in the NFL, and just could pass at will. No one else could really do that right now. So again, look at Cincinnati. That's their problem. I look at their stats, and they average 2.9 yards per rush. They only attempt 18 rushes per game for 53 yards. You're not winning in any NFL like that. So that's what scares me. I do think the value is on Cincinnati. I do think this line's too high. But a 0-7 team, I'm just in no rush to grab those points.
That's fair. All right, Marco, Arizona at New Orleans. This one opened New Orleans -7.5. Now New Orleans -9.5. Now, I was on the Saints last week at the Bears, and I kept having everybody tell me, that's the public play of the week. That's the public play of the week.
Too.
Well,
me too.
Whatever it was, I didn't care. I cashed my ticket. They won the game outright. It was more of a play against the Bears. Teddy Bridgewater, 28-7 against the spread as an NFL starter. Numero uno quarterback against the spread. Yeah. I'm not quite ready to lay 9.5, though, with New Orleans.
Okay, well, full disclosure. You see this suit and these stripes here? Those aren't stripes. Those are tire marks from the Saints running me over in my money the last 2 weeks. I stepped in front of them 2 weeks in a row. I'm not going to step in front of them again, but I don't want to lay the 9.5. This is a little bit of an overreaction, obviously, to what they did in the fact that they scored 36 points against the Chicago Bears defense.
Right, but Arizona's getting no love, and Arizona's about to go over their season win total if they get a win in the next
You know that
week.
New Orleans has played the second toughest offenses in the NFL? As good as that defense is looking, they've played some good offenses, man.
The thing of it is with the Saints now, they've been a dog or small favorite in all of these games that Drew Brees has been out of. Now they're actually a bigger favorite. This is the spot where they're supposed to win. Nobody's saying, okay, this is the week that Teddy Bridgewater gets big. That's not going to happen this week. That's usually when you get that flat spot. For me, I would say it's Arizona or pass in this one, but as I said, I can't get these tire marks off this suit jacket, so I'm not doing it again.
All right, VR, Denver at Indianapolis. Indy opened -4.5, now -6. I'm assuming that everybody saw Denver just absolutely uninterested in an AFC West game on Thursday night. I mean, literally, you can blame Flacco, you can blame the O-line, but nobody appeared to want to be there. No, they didn't. I felt like they didn't even try. And then there's this Indianapolis team hanging out in first place now in the AFC South. Holy hell, no Andrew Luck, and here they are.
My question is Fanny Pack Fangio one and done?
Can John Elway be done? I love John Elway, but I'm kind of over this quarterback selection for the most part.
I mean, it's warranted because the books, again, have to protect themselves. They lucked out that this game was changed to an early start. Imagine the amount of teasers that would be tied in, amount of money line parlays, amount of parlays all on the Colts.
That's
just
fair.
To beat Denver. They're still going to have exposure, but not as much as they would have had. I just think it's way too much. But again, what are they going to do? The Colts have won 4 of their last 5 games. 2 weeks ago, they won outright as double-digit underdogs against Kansas City. And then they beat Houston in an important game for them for their division. And that was at home, and now they're at home against a team they know they can beat, Denver. They got Pittsburgh on deck, so it's not like they got a division game up. Again, it's warranted. I think it is, but I don't see value in betting the Colts.
Okay, the 2 primetime games that we kind of already touched on so quickly, Marco. Green Bay at Kansas City. Kansas City was a 4-point favorite. No Patrick Mahomes. Now, Green Bay is a 4-point favorite. I do think the drop-off between the 2 quarterbacks is probably a touchdown. Do you think this is an overreaction, though?
I think 8's too much of a adjustment on the line. And as I said in the other video, it's been absolute pure money to take that backup quarterback in the first start this season. So until that trend changes, that's where I'm at.
All right, VR, Monday night, Miami at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh opened 16.5. The Dolphins got some love now, 14.5. Is that a big Big move. Is anybody? It's not really, though. Mathematically, it's not a big move. It's 2 points, but it's not really.
It's not in numbers that really matter, exactly. With that said, I do know some, not betting syndicates, but some sharp guys that did grab the plus on the Dolphins, getting out ahead of the market, expecting the line to drop. I guess that's why they took the 14.5 and 15. Again, is it warranted? We talked about it earlier. You kind of have to see some Miami money coming in. I actually think on Monday the books will be looking for some Pittsburgh money. I don't think anyone's going to be in a rush to lay 2 touchdowns with Pittsburgh.
Not with Rudolph.
Time for us to take a quick break, but when we return, it is time for the Steam Game of the Week from Gianni and the Trap Game of the Week from Marco.
Looking for more NFL betting info? Then tune into the Presidential Address each week when WagerTalk's own Lawrence Presman, the Prez, along with Kelly Stewart, break down this week's entire NFL card. The show is available every week exclusively at WagerTalk TV.
Let's go into one of our more successful segments this season. Every single week, Gianni is going to give us his NFL Steam Game of the Week, and Marco's either going to go trap or sandwich. This week, Marco's going trap. Tell me who the Trap Game of the Week is, Marco.
All right, Kelly, we're going to head to a game that we talked about where there was a line move, and that's the Denver-Indianapolis game. And the line went up to Indianapolis, which is expected because of the performances of the two teams last week. But because of those performances, I think this is a big, big trap. And the trap is for Indianapolis. They got to not come into this game. I haven't used this for a while, but I got to bring it out. Fat and sassy. That was the biggest game last week of Jacoby Brissett's career. It was a great game. At home against the team they were chasing in the AFC South. They got the win. Now they are the first place team with the tiebreaker. And coming off that big win, it's almost like a statement game for him all season. Well, Andrew Luck's retired. Now what are we going to do? You know, is he our future? Whatever. He's played well all year.
He has.
But after you have that big win like that satisfying win, and then you're going to play Denver, and you know everybody saw Thursday Night Football, there was a team that could not look any worse than the Denver Broncos looked last week. So I like taking a team that just looked trash on national TV. Nobody wants them. Public's there. And how easy, you touched upon it when we talked about the line move. The books are going to have every single teaser in the world teasing Indianapolis down to just win the game. That's going to look like free money. We know Vegas doesn't give out free money, okay?
I like free money, but you're correct.
This is a trap. Take Denver plus the points. Remember, Jacoby Brissett's not going against the Houston defense this week. He's going against Denver's defense this week. You're going to see, I think, a low-scoring game, and I'm taking the points.
Those Denver unders have been money as well. All right, VR, your Steam Game of the Week.
I'm going to go to prime time, and it's a Thursday night affair. Washington Redskins, Minnesota Vikings. Grab the big points with the Minnesota Vikings, around plus 16.5. Yeah, 2 different groups grabbed it, steamed it. You're not seeing huge movement, obviously, and that's because the books, there's no reason to adjust, drop this line down. We're 48 hours away from the game, 24 hours, excuse me, and already the Minnesota money is coming in from public money. They've already, from the game 1 of the World Series, was tied into the Thursday night game on Minnesota. Like, exposure's starting to mount. And I think that's why this line's still as high as it is. Listen, as long as Washington tries to throw the football early, I mean, they're falling in love with handing it off. They handed it off on first down 70% of the time. You don't win in today's NFL doing that. You got to try to throw the football a little bit. I think we'll see that this week against Minnesota. I think it's also a flat spot for the Vikings. Let's not forget who they had. They just had a big game, and who do they have on deck? The Kansas City Chiefs on a primetime Monday night game, I believe. So is it a letdown spot? Maybe. I do think it's a lot of points.
It is a lot of points. I know it's your Steam game, but just for, I guess, an analytical question, just because I know the answer, but I know a lot of people are going to do this. You mentioned everybody's going to want to bet the Vikings. What else are they going to want to do? They're going to want to tease the Vikings. Your thoughts on teasing the Vikings to 10?
I don't see the value in it.
Okay.
Honestly, I think if you like the Vikings side, lay the points with it. I don't see really teasing it adding much value to. I think it's just a way to get more money on the game. And if you love another side, do it because of that, like as a way to get more money on the game. But as that being the reason to place the teaser because you get more value, I don't see it.
I just feel like a lot of primetime games we see it teased with the total. And
Right. Yeah, I think that's going to be automatic. I think you're right.
That's all my concern is yes, people do it. Yes, people win on occasion from doing it, but probably don't make a habit.
Between Vikings and over, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys, time for us to take a quick break. When we return, my favorite segment, Barking Dogs, is up next.
The calendar is about to say November. Some people may think my birthday is the most important date. Some people may say it's Thanksgiving. But I know it is the first Tuesday in November, the tip-off of college basketball. How about a $400 savings off my college basketball season? It's a new era in college hoops. There's not one, there's not two, there's not 3 days opening night. There's 145 games, the opening night of college hoops. The last 2 years, 360, 304, and 19, plus 110 units. That means a $100 player is up over $11,000. Over my last 110 plays, 60.3%, going 64 and 42. Go to WagerTalk.com. Go to the Ralph Michaels page, type in RM400, and it'll save you $400 off the college basketball season price of $995. That's over 5 months of college hoops for about $100 a month. Don't miss out. A lot of action. 300 plays in about a season. Coupon code RM400, $400 off the college basketball season.
Welcome back to my favorite portion of the show. Why? Because I love the underdogs. We know VR has got to get that sprinkle on the money line. Shout out to the guy who made that GIF last week. I still think it's great. Okay, guys. VR, I'm going to go to you first. Who is your barking dog this week?
Going to Chicago, and we're going to take the San Diego Superchargers. Opened, 5-6, now down to 4. Still don't need the points there. I think they go in there and beat the Chicago team that's slowly but surely getting exposed.
All right.
Trubinsky's not the answer.
I like
No,
it.
he's definitely
Short,
not the
short
answer.
and sweet. Marco.
Yeah, and congratulations on that Tennessee win last week.
Woo!
You want to talk about for the gambling gods screwing you on the Washington game?
Yeah, they came back and they're like,
they made up for it on
It's
Tennessee.
crazy about that because John Murray also gave it out to Britt Musburger as his super
Big
contest play of
play.
the week. So both of you guys liked it, and I played it. I didn't obviously give it out on any shows because it wasn't my play. Oh my! I was
If
like,
I had time to
lose
listen,
this
I probably
game-
would have bet more, and it would have been even more of a heart attack.
Oh my God! I didn't even watch it because I was like, I can't watch this. Like they're on the goal line, they're gonna score, and it's gonna. And
They actually scored twice. Okay.
True.
They scored twice, and they reversed
Dude, the
it.
gods were like, "That's my guy right there."
I don't care what anybody says. Every once in a while, we get those to come back to us, and that's one of
They're
them.
Gambling
fun.
gods
They're
chalked
fun.
one
You
up
let-
for VR,
You know,
baby.
we bitch whenever we're on the bad side of that, but you have to enjoy and
It's because we quickly forget when we're on the good side.
Of course.
That's what it is. All right, Marco, who you got barking?
All right, I got an ugly dog barking here. We're going to go to the New York Giants. Nobody's going to want them this week after they got beat by Arizona. Let's not forget, they came off the bye week and everything, situation playing, against Arizona. You thought they would roll them, but
I love it.
The spot played in the rain, everything else. This is more going against Detroit. Detroit has just come off their last 3 games. Think about how they lost their last 3 games. San Diego, the Charger game.
That's what they are. They're still San Diego. It's
San
okay.
Diego. Okay, well, they're playing like they played in San Diego. Remember that year that everything went wrong, field goals, whatever? I think it was Anthony Lynn's first year there. It was just a nightmare. This is a spot where Detroit, after that loss, then they have the Detroit Monday night game with Green Bay where they got just robbed by the officials. And then last week, the score doesn't show it, but that was a close game with Minnesota. They were going back and forth with them. They had every opportunity, and then it got out of hand at the end. I just don't know what they have left in the tank. They're done. They're not going to catch Minnesota or Green Bay. And I think you've got a favorite here that is just too much. I'm looking at, and this is another one, I like to do this. Look at the teams, look at the numbers, And what is the public going to do? Well, they're going to tease the shit out of Detroit. They're going to be tied up just
to win at home.
Just to win at home over the Giants.
Win by one game.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm going on this one, Giants, and I'm going to be bold. I'm going to call for the upset. 23-21, my projected score.
I don't know if I'm
New
quite
York
there.
Giants.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead. Projection score.
Huh? I got to do sprinkle?
Please do.
Sprinkle?
Please
Sprinkle?
do.
All right.
Marco and his sprinkle. I agree with Marco there. I don't know if I'm ready to go money line, but I'm not laying 7 with the Detroit Jets. Great stuff from both guys.
With the Detroit Jets?
Detroit Jets. That's how I'm looking at this right here.
They've played like the Detroit Jets.
Yes, the Detroit line. Sorry, I'm looking here at the Jets because that was who I was thinking about making a play on. I don't know. I'm still back and forth on my best bet, but we'll get to that later on in the show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to give you your little favorite teaser segment that Johnny Detroit hates. That's next on Bet On It.
If you like betting on horses, be sure to check out WagerTalk.com's own Sig, who zeroes on one racetrack at a time, offering his handicapping skills. Visit his homepage daily for his top selection in each race free. If you want all his selections for that track, you can get his full racing report for just $9.
Okay, we listened to your comments. We read them in the comments section below. If you have a comment, feel free to leave one. You guys wanted teasers. Johnny Detroit said this is a stupid segment. You guys fought hard to keep it. So just what you guys asked for. Teaser of the week. Each week, Marco and Gianni are going to give you a 2-team, 6-point teaser most likely, sometimes 6.5 every week in this segment. Marco, who do you got for us this week?
You know, every week I hear from Johnny that he says those jokes are getting old.
Oh yeah, well,
they're not going to get old.
Listen,
the whole season.
I get told all the time that I'm not funny. I'm just mean. So here we are. I'm not funny. I'm just mean. Now I'm just not going to let that one go.
All right, Kelly, my 2-team teaser. This one's easy for me. The first half is Tampa Bay. We're going to tease them up over the key numbers, obviously 3, 4, 6, and 7. But as I said last week in one of the halves of my teaser, when we took the Chargers against Tennessee, do you really expect Tennessee to get separation from anybody? Okay.
And they weren't able to. You're correct.
They weren't. And same thing applies here. Tampa Bay, extra week to prepare. Hopefully during that week, they taught Jameis Winston to throw to the right color jerseys.
Have you noticed what Jameis does? 3, 4, 5 interceptions, perfect game. 3, 4, 5 interceptions, perfect game. He's on pace to have a perfect game, Marco. This is the spot to play him in.
Tampa Bay had 7 turnovers in their last game, okay? Can't get any
I didn't get that far down the road, but there was like a couple of 5 turnovers, 4 turnovers. It's a crazy progression with him, but there is something that happens after those bad games where he has a good game.
So that's the first half. The second half is we're going to go, now this one might be a popular side, but I do like it because of the situation for the opponent. And I'm going to go with Houston.
That's what I have too on one of mine.
Teasing Houston down to just win the game. And this is the spot, the Oakland Raiders. This team, this is going to be their 5th straight road game. They played, after they had the first 2 at home, they had that Monday night game against Denver. Then they had Kansas City, division rival, come in. They went on the road to Minnesota. They got smacked. Then they had the upset of Indianapolis. They caught Indianapolis in a sandwich situation. Then they had the London game where they go and beat Chicago. And then last week against Green Bay, that's a misleading 42-24 score. There was a 14-point turnaround in that game when Carr was going in for a touchdown.
And didn't he fumble it? Oh,
yeah, he was extending for trying to hit the pylon, and as he was reaching his hand out, the ball slipped out of his hand before he crossed the plane of the goal line, and it went through the end zone, and they called it a touchback, and Green Bay scores a touchdown like 2 or 3 plays later. I'm going with Houston here. I just don't see how Oakland has anything left in the tank. All those games and having the near miss with Green Bay. I know 42-24 doesn't seem like a near miss, but at halftime,
they were in the mix.
That was the game. Yeah, if they get that touchdown, it's a totally different game. So I'm taking Houston here. They had a tough loss last week. A couple bad calls by the referees in that game, a little bit suspect. They had a touchdown called back, said Deshaun Watson was in the grasp. It's kind of hard to be in the grasp when the guy threw a perfect pass to the end zone for a touchdown, but they waved it off. They settled for a field goal, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to go ahead and take Houston. Houston, Tampa Bay is my 2-team teaser.
I agree with the Houston side for sure, and I'm going to make it easy. It sounds square, but I'm going to also tease Jacksonville down just to win at home against those Jets. I got a feeling that game will end up being close, but I just can't see the Jets going in there and winning it. Even though coming off that embarrassing 33-0 loss, you would expect a bounce back. But when you look at Jacksonville, they beat teams like the Jets. They lose when they step up in class. But when they play the Cincinnatis, the Denvers, they could beat those teams, and they usually do. Again, this isn't a step up, it's a step down in class. And I expect a good game from this quarterback and a good rest of the season. You know, Jacksonville's faced the toughest defenses against the pass. Number one toughest defenses against the pass so far this season. And the rest of the way, they are facing the easiest pass defenses. So this quarterback's going to start lighting it up week by week, I think.
I do love Gardner Minshew, and I think
what's not to like, right?
He does show lots of promise week to week, especially for being a young guy. He's really grasped that system well, and I like that teaser. Marco, your teaser scares me a little bit with Jameis, but I like yours as well. I think Houston's the right side. All right, we're going to take a quick break, mainly because my Chipotle is here. But when we come back, it's time for some TNA with Ralph Michaels. Next up on Bet On It. Did you know every Tuesday is $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com? We pick the hottest handicapper and offer his best bet for just $2. This is a great way to introduce yourself to the winning handicappers at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com.
I'm Gianni the Greek Karalis. We're in the heart of the football season, and I'm absolutely unloading on this weekend's college and NFL board. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to give you a $39 all-access Saturday, $39 all-access Sunday. It's going to include all of the football. Last week I had 10-plus plays in one package, 10-plus in the other one. And, of course, with it will come any Major League Baseball, World Series plays, any UFC, any NBA we bet on. That'll all be included. All access Saturday, all access Sunday, $39 each.
Welcome back to Bet On It. It is TNA time with Ralph Michaels. Ralph, Marco called you a stat daddy the other day as opposed to a sugar daddy on Twitter. I don't know what you two have going on, but I'll leave that there. I thought it was an interesting nickname. So Stat Daddy, what have you dug up for us this week?
Well, you know, in the college segment, we talked about how teams do before a bye and then after. I'll tell you what. So if I find something in the college, I see if it translates to the pros and how it works. Well, it did work. NFL teams that are off a loss and had a bye, if they're at home that week, 6-18 against the spread, 25%. There are none this week, but it was the Chicago Bears last week. So if you go into a bye and you're playing poorly, you don't all of a sudden start playing better. So let's look at the opposite. How do teams do? They win, then they're a bye, and now they're away favorite of 3 or more.
Yeah, is it a momentum killer?
40-13. 76% against the spread. That goes back to 2001. We have 20 years of data saying there are none this week. But again, I just wanted to show both sides of the spectrum. You're playing bad into a bye. You're going to continue playing bad. You play well into a bye, and now you're an away favorite of 3 or more. 40 covers, 13 ATS losses, 76%. So make sure you write those down and think about it, and don't. You know, a lot of people fall into the trap. Oh, the Bears rested off a bye. They're pissed. They're angry. They're off a loss. They're going to bounce back. Well, they did far from that against the Saints. Now let's look at teams with 0 or 1 wins. We have a lot of them this year.
Yeah.
This is from week 8 on. So you have at least 6 losses or more than that. So 0 or 1 wins, and you're a home dog of 3 or more. 9, 20-1, 31%, that's to fade Atlanta. Now, what's going to happen? You're a home dog of 3 or more, you do poorly. What happens if you're an away dog of 3 or more? 36-18, 66%. Home teams look past those poor teams. When you're 0-6,
they don't get
0-7, 1-8, you're not going to get up for them. You're looking at who you played last week. You're looking at who you have on deck. So those teams, Washington, the Jets, and Miami. And then one team angle we're going to throw in, the LA Chargers, when they are on the road. We know they're a much better road team than they are at home. When they're on the road against a team with a better win percentage than them, like they are this week. 22-4 against the spread. And if you tease them, a perfect 26-0 as a teaser the last 5 years, playing the LA Chargers on the road against a team with a better win percentage.
Wow, great stuff, Ralph. It is time for our last break of the show, but when we return, it is best bet time.
Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.
It's been a fantastic 6-week run, but guys, I'm just getting started. Over the last 6 weeks, if you bet every play I released in all sports, you would be 48-24, netting a bankroll increase of 74.6%. That's all football, baseball, and hockey plays. Now we will be adding NBA plays to our winning arsenal. There's no better time to jump on board than right now, and you can get 2 weeks of my VIP all-access service, a $238 value for just $149. This even includes our 5% major wager plays. Those plays sell for $40 each. We will have at least one 5% major wager play this weekend. Go to my homepage now at WagerTalk.com. Hurry, this offer ends Monday night at midnight.
All right, we're back. There is only one thing left for us to do. Time to dive into our best bets of the week. Let's keep it rolling, guys. Last week was good yet again. I got there with the Saints. Picking another underdog on the road. Taking the Carolina Panthers here. I wanted a 6. It's down to 5.5. I had all these great notes, and then my computer died, so I apologize to you guys. Bottom line, I'm playing against the momentum that is the 49ers. I took the Skins plus 10 last week. I know the weather helped out with that one greatly. This 49ers team, their stock is really, really high. And I'm buying the hype here with Kyle Allen and the Panthers, who have been covering at a nice little rate. Again, fading the Niners, especially as home favorites. I think they've covered 2 of their last 18 or something ridiculous as favorites, but again, apologize for the dead computer. I'll have to get that charged before I do some of the other segments. Marco, how'd you do last week? Your best bet?
Well, we won. We had a great week on the show, 5-1 with all the plays, which I had to make up for the 1-4 on the college show, and but hey,
we talked about it. It's okay.
It happens, and we'll bounce back big on Sunday, and let's keep it rolling. And I'm going to go to the Buffalo Bills here. Throw out last week's game by Buffalo. That was a flat spot for them. Yes, they were coming off a bye week, but how excited do you get for playing the winless Miami Dolphins that were just a train wreck, okay? They weren't mentally prepared, and as we talked about when we talked about the line moves, Buffalo, you look at the game last week, momentum going into the bye week, I think it stopped their momentum. They were rolling 5-1 and everything else, starting to read the press clippings that, hey, maybe they have a chance, to challenge the Patriots, blah, blah, blah. And they got a dose of reality last week. They came back and won the game. Give them credit for that. Bad first half. They come back and got the job done. If you remember last year, Buffalo was in that same situation, only on the other side of the coin. They went to Minnesota and beat and killed like everybody's Survivor pool in the
I was
country.
hoping so bad they killed it. I would have won Survivor last week if Buffalo would have just lost.
But, now look at Philadelphia. This is going to be their 3rd straight road game, 4th road game in 5 weeks. That's a horrible scheduling spot for them, and they're going to be facing the toughest defense that they've faced all year long. This Buffalo defense is for real. Yeah, I know Miami got 21 points on them last week. They came out flat, got some points. They shut them down.
Tell me which team's going to get up for the Dolphins right now. You're just not.
You're going to see a week off,
Yeah, you're going to see the real Buffalo team this week with that defense. And then speaking of defense, Philadelphia's, where did it go?
I said that I thought Philadelphia was just a tad bit overrated, and they have showed it to me the last 2 weeks I've bet against them. And I think you're right, Marco. I think it's a bet against spot again here.
They may be the NFC $3 bill.
Listen, they have given up 24 or more points in 6 of their 7 games this year. The only team that they held under 24 points this year was the Jets with Luke Falk. Come on.
I mean,
okay?
Luke Falk did play on Monday night. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, that was tremendous. Philadelphia has given up over 300 yards the last 2 weeks on the ground. Buffalo has rushed for over 100 yards in every game this season. You know what? I'm shuffling off to Buffalo. Best
All
bet.
right. VR, been cashing with your best bets. How was your last week?
I split. I don't know what total I gave for the best bet and the steam play, but I know I went 1-1. Whether I won the steam and lost the best bet, or won the best bet and lost the steam. One or the other.
I won the one you told me to play that was over 40.5 with the
Bills game.
Dolphins.
Yes.
That was great.
Okay.
Thank you for that. All right.
Real quickly, I just wanted to say, and I'll keep this short because I go check the comments and stuff, and I saw a comment that I even want to post it. I said we got to address this because someone wrote that they're like, oh, their show is great, but I bought their premium information or something. I bought 7 picks or something like that, and I went something like 1-6 or 2-5. And honestly, that to me is the most important thing to touch on real quick. If you believe that 7 picks, 8 picks, 10 picks, those results have any statistical significance at all, stop betting, stop buying picks, please. I'm telling you personally, and I do this, don't waste your money anymore. That's not, if you think somebody that is a long-term loser is having a losing year and maybe 9-0 on Monday night and now has their Monday night game of the year, if you think because they're 9-0 on Monday night that they offer value now to you on that 10th game and you should buy it, then it's on you. Like we're
talking small sample size here, guys.
Yeah, then you're being the fool for doing that. Like if you don't know better than that, then again, you can't blame us. And that's like when it comes to their best bets. We're picking one bet. We're trying to win for you, but it's been a good season. It's been great, but that's what I'm saying. If I was having to lose an NFL season, that would be more important to me than being ahead on 3 picks. But again,
that's why I'll jump in for a second and say,
please.
That's why we say it's best to find a capper that you're comfortable with.
Exactly, that you trust his info, or you like how the reasoning is.
And buy them long term.
That's
because
it.
You're going to, yes, you might be there for a 2-5 day or a 1-6 day, but you're also going to be there for all the winning.
And that's what I say. I say, buy a guy for their information. Some days pass. You may not agree with what I'm giving you that day. Pass.
I think it's also important. So Marco and I talked about this in the green room because on John Murray and I's podcast we talked about it, about cherry picking and fading and following and disagreeing. I give out all my stuff for free. You can fade, you can follow me, you can do whatever you want. I don't
Ignore
care.
It's on you.
But you're right. As far as someone purchasing a handicapper, make sure that you are purchasing someone that you know can win long term. Make sure that you're purchasing someone that has actual data to prove other than, yes, I went 6-0 on Sunday and Monday, but that again is a small sample size. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to lose on Thursday night.
Someone should dive on you next week and start betting 5 times more because, Kelly knows NFL and she's hot. That's just foolish. And that's why I say, I beg people, please don't come to me. Like, thank God I'm in a position where I can say that. If you need the win on Monday night, don't buy from me. Find from someone else who's promising you they could win on Monday night because I can't do that. I can promise you I'll win more than I lose long term. Something less than 1% of people can do. But I can't promise you I'm going to win this weekend for you or next weekend for you. And anyone that does is lying to you. And if you've given them $1 of your money, they've fooled you, don't let it happen again. Because nobody can promise you. Sure, we hype big games. And a lot of times we do like a game bigger. And you push it, you promote it. That's the business. But it's your job to do your due discipline and take a step back and what is this person offering? And that's why, fortunately, I got people that stick with me long term and no, they use the information. A lot of times they'll fade it, follow it. They know I'm a long-term winner, and that's why they want the info. They're not looking for me to give them Thursday night's lock because they got to meet their bookie Friday.
Oh, it's terrible.
And if they don't bail out, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So quick, back to the best bet. I'll be quick because Marco actually touched on it, and that's the New York Football Giants. Listen, Detroit got everyone excited again when they were 2-0-1, and the wheels have come off. And this is just too many points for a team that hasn't beaten anyone by more than a field goal to be laying here, especially with a run defense like they have, and Barkley now coming to town. I mean, their 3 main guys who could stuff that line are gone for Detroit or injured. Again, the wheels have come off for this team. Laying a touchdown is just way too many. I think the Giants can win this game, outright. I love your money line pick, so it's got sprinkle written all over it, but I think at +7, it's free money.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show as much as we did doing it. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the show. As VR mentioned, please jump in the comment section. We'd love to address some of those questions on the show or even just on YouTube. We're going to try to interact with everyone that we can. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe and notification button. That way you always know when next week's show is coming out. Until next week, let's bet on it.